Hi guys, so this video is going to be about sweeping things under the carpet, or better yet, let's not sweep things under the carpet. This came to me because the holidays are upon us. A lot of us are spending time with family members. There's some past pain, there's some incidences that have happened, and it's things that we have not been permitted to talk about or have not been role modeled how to healthfully talk about. So what happens, it lingers. It's kind of like when you leave something in the back of your refrigerator and you pretend it's not there because you can't see it, but you can smell it. You know it's there. It's taking up space. And what we'll find a lot of times too is when we have people in our lives that don't want to deal with things that have happened, or they don't know how to deal with things that happened, or they don't know how to apologize, or they don't know how to listen, they will tell us to just move on. And the quick answer to that is, I don't think so. And the reason why is that we are human beings that deserve respect, and we deserve some kind of reverence as a human being. So does that mean that we're never wrong? Of course it doesn't. Does it mean that if somebody is ultra sensitive and they take something that you say in a hurtful manner and you don't mean it that way, that you should be forever apologizing? Of course not. But it is okay to understand another person's point of view and to apologize, or to say, how can I make this better? And a lot of times we don't get that. And if we know somebody is a little bit more sensitive, there's nothing wrong with being a little bit more sensitive with their feelings. Generally, people who are sensitive are very caring and loving, and we don't want to miss out on that. But we also want to be able to say whatever we want. People's personalities are different, their essences are different, their history is different. Somebody once said to me, even if two children are brought up in the same household, they don't have the same childhood, because each parent is going to react to each child differently. Their parents are going to be at a different age when they're born, unless they're twins, obviously. They are possibly going to be going through a different phase in their marriage when each child is born. So it's not like we all, just because we're brought up in the same household doesn't mean that we share the same experience. So what one child may be feeling is something that happened, the other may not, and that's okay. What I'm talking about is just being able to respect the fact that people are different, and it's okay to be sensitive to their experience. And if we've done something to hurt them, it's okay to listen. It is okay to say, listen, I understand how you feel. I apologize. And to respect that person enough not to expect them to just push that, bad experience in the back of the refrigerator and let it rot. So the thing that comes to mind for me is a story that I heard many years ago, and it is about a young man who has a really difficult time controlling his temper. So he will lash out, he will get triggered, and he'll just start yelling and acting in a really bad way. And then when he's done, as many temperamental people are, they're done. Let's just all move on. What's the problem here? I'm not mad anymore. Well, the problem is that you've said really hurtful things, and you've said things that are going to impact not only someone's feelings, but how they feel about you and how much they trust you. So the story starts with this person who is young and has a fiery personality and lashes out, and again just thinks, I'm done, we all need to be done. And an elder in the community had said to the young boy, I want you to see that fence across the street. Okay, looks at this fence. Yes, it's a white picket fence. It was beautiful. It was just painted. And he said, and I want you, every time that you get angry, to take a nail, instead of lashing out at another person or yelling or whatever it is, I want you to take a nail, I want you to put it in the fence, and I want you to hammer it in. And the young man says, sure. So he does that, and at the end of a certain amount of time, if it's weeks or months or whatever, he looks at the fence, and the elder says, I want you to take out all the nails. So he takes out all the nails, and sure enough, the fence is ruined. And he said, that's what you do to a relationship. That's what you do to another person. And that's why it's not okay to lash out at people and to be hurtful, to just release your own feelings or to release whatever is going on inside of you, because you're impacting something, and that something is also going to impact you. Years later, or even months later, or weeks later, or days later, to say, hey, listen, this never happened. I don't know what you're talking about, or I don't want to talk about this. What you're ultimately doing, now you're adding insult to injury, because the problem with that whole theory is it doesn't take into account that the person that you're saying this to was there. They were there. They saw it, they heard it, and they felt it. And again, I'm not saying anyone's perfect, and I'm not saying that the person receiving it is perfect and hasn't done anything wrong. What I'm saying is if we want relationships and we care about what that relationship might mean in a year or a day or a decade or in 30 decades, well, I guess it would be 3 decades because 30 decades would be a long time to live, but 3 decades, we have to look at how do I want to treat this person and how do I myself want to be treated. And it's interesting too, and this is something that I've also seen, and this is more of a work situation in which I remember being spoken to by a superior in a way that was really disrespectful. And I was telling one of my colleagues, and she's like, well, that's the way this person is, and that's just the way he is, and you can't really pay attention to him, that's the way he is. And 3 days later, he said the same thing to her, and she was aghast. So it always feels a little different when it happens to us. So not only is it kind of recognizing that people might have a different sensitivity level, and there may be certain topics that they're less able to just fend off, it's also recognizing that things feel a lot differently when they happen to us than when we listen to how it happened to somebody else, or when we're doing it to somebody else, and then when we're not angry anymore or emotional, not to take responsibility in that. And again, I just wanted to put that out there. It's the holidays. We're going to be spending time with people that we may not all get along. There may be some friction under the surface. And just remember to be sensitive, to be loving. And if we want relationships and we want good karma, it might be a good idea to be sensitive to how somebody else feels. And if the relationship goes wrong, and if after taking out those nails, you see the damage, there's nothing wrong with at that point apologizing and pivoting into being a kinder, more thoughtful, less self-centered person. And with that, I'll leave you. I hope this video helps you. I hope it resonates with you and helps you get through some of the struggles that we might be dealing with holidays. And if you think somebody else should see this, pass it on. And remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much. Happy holidays, and I'll be speaking with you soon.